Okay guys, I'm going to show you an example of how to do the equation shapes project. So if you notice, I've already drawn a four-sided shape. You have to have four sides and they have to be straight lines. So you should notice I don't have any circles or curves. All of my lines are straight. Once you have four sides, you are going to label each point. So you're going to label them A, B, C, and D, and you can pick. So here's my point A, here's B, C, and D. Once you have all four labeled, you're going to go through and write those ordered pairs. So I'm just going to do two. If I'm at point A, from the origin, I would have to go to the right 7. So my first number is a 7. And I would have to go up 8. So A is the ordered pair 7, 8. And I'm writing it both places I see the letter A. My point B, from the origin, I'd have to go to the right 6. So my first number is going to be a 6. Then I'd have to go down, which is a negative 6. So I'm going to have negative 6. You go ahead and fill out the ordered pairs you have on your paper and make sure you fill out all of them. So do C and D as well. Go ahead and pause the video and do that. Once you have all of your ordered pairs filled in, now we're going to find the slope. If you notice down here at the bottom, you have some work. Some area to do your work. If you need a separate sheet of paper, you can do that as well. I'm going to show you the slope just for A and B. This was my point for A and B. You have this formula that tells you how to find the slope, so I'm going to use it. My y2, or the second y value I see, is negative 6. Then I'm subtracting my y1, which is 8. On the bottom, I'm going to do my x2, which was 6, minus 7. Your slope you should get would be negative 14 over negative 1, which simplifies to a positive 14. I would go back up to the top and fill that in for my slope for A, B. Go ahead and pause the video and find your slopes for all of these lines. Once you have filled out all of your slopes, you probably needed another piece of paper to fill it out. You are going to do the work for one of your equations. I'm going to keep going with A, B. I know that I'm writing a y equals mx plus b equation. We already found our slope, which was 14, but now we're missing the b. This is where you are going to pick one of your ordered pairs from A, B. I'm picking the point 7, 8, just because it's all positives and I like positives, but you could pick the other one, we'd come up with the same answer. I'm going to replace the y value with the y in my ordered pair. So instead of y equals, I'm putting 8 equals. I write my slope again. Now I'm going to replace my x. Instead of 14 times x, it's 14 times my x value, which was 7. Now in my calculator, I would do 14 times 7, and I got a positive 98. I need to get rid of this 98 away from the letter. Opposite of a positive is a negative. My final step is 8 minus 98, which is negative 90. Negative 90 is not your final answer. We want it as an equation. So the whole thing together would be y equals the slope I already found, x, and then the b I just found down here at the bottom, which is a negative 90. Go ahead and pause your video and find all of your equations. You may want a separate sheet of paper. The last part is finding this length of segment. So I want to know how long is this line A to B. Unfortunately, it's not going straight up, so I can't just count the boxes. It's a diagonal line, meaning I'm going to have to go way back to first semester and do the Pythagorean theorem. If you don't remember what that is, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. What I'm looking for is the diagonal line, which is going to be my c. I'm going to draw a triangle, or I'm simply going to connect the dots with straight lines. So from point A to B, I would have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 spaces. So that is one of your legs of your triangle. and then I have to go over 1. When you're counting, no matter what direction you're going, these are positive numbers because they're lengths. We can't have a negative length. 14 times 14 is 196, and 1 times 1 is 1. I add those together, but I want just the length. I don't want c squared, so you take the square root. There is no number that times itself equals 197, so I just leave my answer, the square root of 197. Pause your video and go ahead and fill out all of your links. The very, very last part, you're almost done, guys, is we're going to do a system. For my AB line, I got y equals 14x minus 90. You didn't see me do the work, but for BC, I got y equals 1/5 x minus 6.4. So you pick 2 of the equations. You can pick any 2. What?
Was it 115?
Oh yeah, it was 1/15. My bad. Thank you, Miss Johnston. 1/15. You can pick any 2, but I'm just picking the first 2 to make it easy. Since all of your equations say y equals, we're going to use substitution. So I'm going to say 14x minus 90 is going to replace this y, or substitute for this y value in the other equation. Now I'm going to get my x's on the same side. I'm going to go ahead and move this negative 6.4. So I get 14x, and my calculator, negative 90 plus 6.4 is negative 83.6. Oh, I messed up. There we go. So my very last part is getting this x by itself. I know we don't like fractions. You have 2 options. You could turn this into a decimal, or we can give a common denominator. I'm going to go ahead and give a common denominator. So I need both of these x's to have a 15 at the bottom. So if I wanted 14 over 1 to have a 15 at the bottom, I would have 15 at the bottom and 210 at the top, because that's what 14 times 15 is. Now I'm going to subtract 210, and the reason I'm subtracting is because it's a positive. So to get rid of a positive, you make it a negative. This would give me negative 209, and since they have the same denominator, it stays the same. I'm going to move my paper up, sorry. Well, if I can. Okay, I need to divide by this fraction, which means you multiply by its reciprocal. So over here on this side, and this is really 83.6 over 1. When I multiply by the reciprocal, those cancel out, and you can just go straight across, or you can cross simplify, which I can't, so I'm going to go across. So 83.6 times 15 gives me negative 1,254, and negative 209 times 1 is negative 209. I can simplify this to a 6. I got a positive 6 because a negative over a negative makes a positive. So that's my x value for my ordered pair. Now I just have to find the y. You can pick which equation. I'm going to plug it into this first one because there's no fractions. So 14 times x, or 14 times 6, gives me 84, minus 90 gives me negative 6. Then you're done. Let us know if you have any questions.